Hello, welcome to my channel, another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and this is week 3 of New World November. This is an event created by the Bookish Bryants to encourage people to read science fiction, especially short science fiction, short stories or novels under 250 pages. And this week has a theme. It is classic science fiction, and that is science fiction published before 1965, because 1965 was the beginning of the new wave. And I'm going to do this as a blog style, because if I wait till the end of the week, I'm going to forget some of the details of the stories or books that I read. So here we go. Today, I read 2 short stories. They by Robert A. Heinlein. And Robert A. Heinlein wrote this story in 1941. Opening. They would not let him alone. They would never let him alone. He realized that was part of the plot against him, never to leave him in peace, never to give him a chance to mull over the lies they had told him, time enough to pick out the flaws and to figure out the truth for himself. The main character of this story is in an insane asylum. He's married, he's successful, but he thinks he is a bigger part of the universe and that there are things manipulating the world around him, preventing him from knowing the truth. And what is he? What are these things? What are they? This is a science fiction story. It is also kind of a horror story. It is not absolutely obvious in the beginning of this story what it is, because it could just be the story of a man who's gone insane and is staying in an insane asylum. Because how often are insane people's paranoid fears actually true? I like this story. It's a lot of fun. The next one I read came from The Big Book of Science Fiction, edited by Anne and Jeff Vandermeer. It was The Game of Rat and Dragon by Cordwainer Smith. In the far, far future, humanity is traveling to the stars, but there are creatures among the stars that humans call dragons, and they are creatures of darkness. And if they attack the spaceships, they will kill 50% of the crew and drive the other 50% hopelessly insane. But these creatures are vulnerable to light. If you send out a light bomb when these creatures begin to attack, it will destroy them. And there are telepaths that can sense when these creatures are approaching, but they're not quite quick enough. The dragons still get through to destroy. However, humans, the telepathic humans, find partners that move much faster and can react much quicker to fight these dragons. And these partners are not human. And when they see these creatures of space, they don't see dragons. They see rats, giant rats. But they are willing to help humanity. And they are very disappointed when they kill one of these rats, because the rat dies and disappears, and they can't play with the dead rat. And these partners are cats, normal domestic cats that are also telepathic and can communicate with the telepathic humans. And there is the main character in the story, Underhill, and he is a telepath, and he is fighting for humanity, and he likes his partners. He doesn't want to call them cats because they're more They are partners. He works with them. He has an understanding with them. And when they're connected not as human to human, but human to feline, because they are still cats. And I love this story. It has a great premise. It's written in 1955, and I just love the cats in this book. This story. Because if you watch my videos, you know I have cats. You know I love cats. And I also have the story collected in this volume. And this paperback starts off with an opening that's not in the ebook version. And Captain Wow, and that's one of the names of the characters, the cat characters. Captain Wow and the other feline characters were inspired by cats living with Lineberger home when this story was written. And Lineberger is the true name of Cordwainer Smith. At a single setting in one afternoon in 1955. So there we do have, is that Cordwainer Smith loved cats. And that actually shows in this short story, because he describes a lot of the partners that are teaming up with the telepathic humans to fight these alien species. And you could tell that each one of these partners was an individual. It had its own personality, just the way that real life cats have their personality. And if you own a cat, or more than one cat, you know that they're all different and unique. And that's one of the reasons that I really loved this short story. Finishing up Classic Week, Week 3, I have read The Body Snatchers by Jack Finney. And this is a novel published or copyrighted 1954 and 1955, and is the story of a small town in California. The narrator of the book is Dr. Miles, and he is a small town doctor. And people of the town go to him and tell him that members of their family, their friends, are not acting like themselves. They can't quite put the finger on it, but something is different about them. And at first, Miles is just saying they have a mild case of delusion. And he goes to talk to some of these people, with the patients, and he doesn't notice anything right away. But more and more people keep telling him that people are not themselves, and that something is going on. And then he discovers a body in a house, and the body doesn't seem to be fully formed. It's human, very human-like, but it's incomplete. There's no distinguishing characteristics about this body. And through a variety of reasons, he decides not to go to the police and investigate this situation himself. Now, of course, almost everyone's going to know that this is the famous Pod Person novel that inspired the movie's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And this is very much a product of the 50s. What I see in this book of people searching for pod people are the Red Scare, the hunt for communists. Is your neighbor secretly a communist? Is your father secretly a communist? And there's all this terror that the communists are going to infiltrate you and make you a communist. And this is a fun novel. It is quite entertaining to read. And what's even more interesting is that I have this very nice old paperback edition. So I decided I didn't want to risk damaging this book. So I went to my library and I got an ebook version for free. And when I started reading the ebook version, I noticed something that on the first page he mentioned it was 1976. He was driving a car of that year. And I'm going, that seems really off. I didn't know this story was set in the future. And then you look here in the original book, and lo and behold, the automobile in this old paperback is from 1953. And I noticed some other anomalies in the text. The dates have all been updated by about 20 years or so. And all references to smoking, because people smoke in this book. It was the 50s. But when you look at this book, which was revised in 1975, all references to smoking have been deleted. They're just not there anymore. And at one point in this book, Dr. Miles is talking to one of his friends who know that there are pod people, and they want to bring it to Washington. Say, who do you know in Washington? And he goes, I don't know anyone in Washington, not even a Democrat. And this was the 50s, and yet he's poking fun at the Democrats, who were not quite the same as Democrats today, but it was poking mild fun. But here, that line has just been deleted. It's gone. And in this book, they mention a Negro character. In this book, it's an African-American character, or no, a black man. So someone went through that book and made some editorial changes. The town in this book is further away from the major cities. This one is in Mills Valley, right near San Francisco. So what someone did is when they republished this book, not only did they rename it Invasion of the Body Snatchers to correspond with the movie version, they made lots of updates. They moved it closer to San Francisco and removed smoking and updated things. I don't think anything substantial was changed in this, but it's curious that people make changes to books that have been published. But anyway, it's a good book, and I highly recommend that. And my last book for Classic Week was The City and the Stars by Arthur C. Clarke. This is actually a sort of revision of his first novel, Against the Fall of Night. It is a story set in billions and billions of years in the future, where humanity was once a star-faring species and had an empire, but they all collapsed back to one city due to what was called the invasion. People in that city don't really know what the invasion is anymore, other than that there was one. But into this city, a boy is born who is very special. He is a very rare trait that has only happened about 12 times in the billions of years this city has been in existence. And essentially what it is that the people in this city are kind of reincarnations of older people. You live out 1,000 years, and then you sort of drift off into death. And then after a number of years, you're reborn into a new body, and you will eventually regain your memories of your old lives. But this boy has no old lives. He's a unique. He is the first. He is an original, and he is born to discover. And he wants to discover what has happened to humanity. Why are they like that? Why are they limited to this one ancient city? And he goes out to discover what is beyond the city and into the stars. Now, this is not a character-driven book. This is not a plot-driven book. This is a novel of philosophical and scientific possibilities of the human race. And I still kind of liked it. It was an entertaining read. Even that kind of old school science fiction, it's just pure ideas. But I liked it. And I think people who like older science fiction will enjoy that too. So that is the end of Classic Science Fiction Week. Thank you for watching, and keep on reading.